Welcome back to the channel. Let's get into this wrestling rumors and news for this Friday, April 23rd, 2021. And we're starting with the biggest story right now in the wrestling world after what happened yesterday with Mickie James tweeting about a garbage bag she received in the mail with her belongings from WWE. There was a lot of backlash towards WWE. Triple H, Stephanie, John Laurinaitis all took to Twitter to say that they had nothing to do with it. They didn't know anything about it. It wasn't on them, kind of thing. And that the person who did it is fired, and the person who did it that is fired is none other than Mark Carrano, the senior director of talent relations. You've seen him on Total Bellas before and other backstage stuff and 24, network 24s and all that stuff like that. So he's the man who's responsible for the most part of the black garbage bag and her belongings. Now, people came out, as well and said like Gail Kim obviously was really upset about this and took some shots at Triple H and WWE itself, talking about the culture. It's happened a bunch of times. Now saying something about it really is not going to change it. She's gotten stuff before. We had Jillian Hall say she got stuff before as well. So she's gotten her stuff in a garbage bag before. Here you got Maria Kanellis confirmed receiving a trash bag following her departure last year, while Gail Kim stated that the practice has been happening since before she joined the company. Kim had stints in the company from 02 to 04 and 08 to 2011. Stephanie McMahon apologized to James, stating that she was embarrassed that she or anyone else was treated this way. So Mark Carrano gets the axe. He's gone. This goes along with a lot of other things in terms of, people being fired and things being shaken up. So we had that big news. Mark Carrano's the guy that got fired, right? He's the one that gets fired for the trash bag incident. He's the one to blame. He's the one that deals with talent directly, so it's on him. So good on WWE for firing him, but it's something to do with the culture in WWE that they tend to just do stuff like this from time to time. It's a big company. There's a lot of people that are heads of different departments. It's not all Vince McMahon. He's overseeing it all, but there's a lot of heads to different departments of the company. So sometimes people do what they do and nobody else knows about it. This is one of those instances where you have somebody like this pulling this type of stunt. For whatever reason, he had issues with Mickie James. For whatever reason, he felt like he needed to do this. It's done before. You heard the stuff that happened backstage with the wrestlers themselves, like X-Pac, dropping a turd in somebody's luggage. That's between the wrestlers themselves. So you got that going on there. But this stuff is unacceptable. It's a real disrespectful thing for Mickie James, like we talked about yesterday. But now we have a face to it. Mark Carrano fired from WWE, and we continue on. Vince McMahon wants new blood in the ranks of WWE management. So with Mark Carrano being gone, here we have saying that talent relations is going to change. John Laurinaitis is going to insert his own team and probably an entire new talent relations team. Additionally, we were told that Vince McMahon wants fresh eyes on the product and on management. It seems that most of the management are from a previous era. So here we go. They're trying to change the culture, I assume, because they're probably getting a lot of heat for this, especially nowadays. They will get a lot of heat from what's going on, and they have to change the culture in the company. So they're bringing in new people all over the place. Vince wants new blood in the ranks. Kevin Dunn is still in his position of power, but it would be also brought back Bruce Pritchard and John Laurinaitis, two men who held backstage positions of power a decade ago. Vince McMahon is arranging the team he wants, even if it seems more like an old guard. Here we got Ringside News saying we've asked about the talent relations shake up in WWE. We were told Vince McMahon wants new blood in the ranks, even though most of the management is from a previous era. He's looking for fresh eyes on the product and management. It's a true story. He brought back Bruce Pritchard over 2 years ago. John Laurinaitis back. It's pretty much the same old crew from previous. Maybe I don't know how much is going to change, but we'll see what happens. But they're bringing in new blood, new people. We'll see if it in terms of the product, I think what he cares about the most is how the product looks, how it comes off, and if it gets better as time goes on with the new crew. So we'll see how that goes. Next story we have here about the Undertaker. Undertaker clarifies calling WWE product soft. Remember, Undertaker showed up on Joe Rogan's podcast. He called the current product soft. And a lot of people came out with a lot of backlash over that. A lot of professional wrestlers now. Some people try to defend him or say, what he meant was this. So this is in his own words. He sat down with Justin Barrasso, Sports Illustrated. I wasn't bashing our talent. Our talent is extraordinary. What they're physically able to do, I couldn't imagine doing back in the day. I have a lot of respect for our roster, but I came from a different time period. My point was, I was tough back then. I remember when Triple H came in, and he was shocked that I had black electrical tape on my boots. It was just a different time. We didn't even have trainers on the road. If you had torn gear, you either wore it torn or you fixed it yourself. I'm so proud of being to be part of the evolution of our business. This industry has come so far. It's a sign of success and how far we've come. Finally, Taker took the time to express his gratefulness towards one group, the wrestling fans. I've always considered myself extremely blessed. Wrestling fans are hugely loyal, and my fans have been with me during this whole journey, and this is special to me. They deserve credit. They're vital to building and sustaining the Undertaker character. I never took that for granted. Look, tickets are expensive. Pay-per-views are expensive. You need to work hard for your money, and people used to spend their money on WWE and the Undertaker as their form of entertainment. That's so humbling to me. I put wrestling fans above any other fan base. This means the world to me. Yeah, so, he's talking about it's different eras. So, I mean, eras talk about other eras. The older crowd says the newer crowd is soft. Whether it's true or not, that's the Undertaker. What he meant when he said soft, it's a different time period. Everything's so stylized, so meticulously, put together nowadays. It's so hyper, staged and all that. So it's so many hands on deck now compared to back then where it was kind of the Wild West still. So that's what he means by that, just clarifying it. So I mean, you really can't get upset by him calling it soft, because if you look at it, you could tell the difference between the two now and before. What those guys did compared to what the guys do now, it's a little bit different, but he doesn't mean in soft in a disparaging way. It's just back then it was kind of like the Wild West. They had to kind of take care of things on their own, where now it's kind of like, the company's so huge that stuff is just already taken care of. Gear, they have so many seamsters, so many people in the backstage that do all this stuff like that. So, that's what it's all about. Next thing we have here is an interesting immigration story. Chelsea Green, after being released by WWE, might have to leave the United States. So Chelsea Green was released by WWE, and that was rather unexpected. She might also run into an issue when it comes to her country of residence. Green is a Canadian. She lives in Florida with Mark Carrano, aka Zack Ryder, but the two had to postpone their wedding due to the pandemic. She's not married and technically unemployed. She spoke with Chris Van Vliet about this. It could be an issue. Nobody hit the ground running during the crop of releases like Chelsea Green. She opened up a pro wrestling tea store and started a podcast. If she can't get a visa or a green card, that makes the situation pretty difficult. When I was released, a lot of people were like, "Hey, you're okay. You're a good hustler." But I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm Canadian. I have to get a visa and a green card. I have to figure out a way to live here." I was released on a Thursday night, and on Friday morning, Matt is on his way to Wisconsin. I texted him saying, "We need to get married, so you need to think about it when that's happening." That's an interesting interview that she has there. So yeah, she's gonna run into those issues because she was working here on a work visa. Now she's not. They're not married, so she can't get citizenship or permanent residency. Through the marriage. So it's tough. She's got to figure something out. They could do like a quick court style marriage and just get married really quickly, just for that to get that over with, and then do their whole big wedding after that, what they had planned previously. So it's a rough situation for her. She did hit the ground running, already bringing out that hot mess thing. She's trying to trademark her name, Chelsea Green. There's a lot of things there she's trying to do to make money now after losing that WWE contract. So she can run into a lot of issues. Hopefully they get this done. They get married quickly and she's okay. She can apply for permanent residency and be okay, stay in the States, do what she has to do, make her money, and eventually, hopefully, come back to WWE. Next story here. EC3. We all heard about EC3. He's been hospitalized for the last 5 days. Ring of Honor star EC3 has taken social media to reveal to fans that he is currently in hospital, and he's been for the last 5 days. EC3 stated he's been here for 5 days, but he will need to be there for longer. He did also reveal the reason for being in the hospital, saying that he had an infection which he neglected, claiming that it was because he was putting other people's needs before his own. Yeah, interesting. Hopefully a speedy recovery for him, as speedy as possible. He's already been there 5 days, he needs to stay there longer. Infections are serious, maybe a staph thing or something like that. But yeah, I'm not sure what he means by putting other people's needs before his own. Maybe working and not taking the time off to get it, taken care of. So dangerous stuff, but hopefully he should be okay and he can get out of the hospital pretty soon. EC3, big Ring of Honor and former WWE wrestler. Next and final story here is everybody's favorite. Goldberg says there are absolutely still interesting matchups for him in WWE. Everybody rejoice. Goldberg will eventually come back. The most interesting thing here, when we get to, is I'll show you. He was on the bump. Goldberg responded affirmatively when asked if he can still captivate the WWE universe. Hey, let's be perfectly honest. A different era of Goldberg would match up against anybody. The question is, could this era of Goldberg match up with anyone still and have it be interesting? I think the answer is absolutely yes. All right. This is the most interesting part right here. Given that Goldberg versus Reigns never happened, that feud is likely the most intriguing one left for the veteran, especially given that Reigns is now the dominant heel under his tribal chief persona. So will we finally get that match? I think you should book it right now. Fastlane or Royal Rumble of next year, Goldberg beats Roman Reigns for that Universal Championship, or at WrestleMania. Book it. Either of those 3 pay-per-views, Royal Rumble, Fastlane, or WrestleMania. Goldberg beats Roman Reigns for that Universal Championship. You heard it here first. Probably going to happen. This man still under contract until 2023. So on a deal that will see him wrestle twice per year. So 2021 just started. We got a lot of time. He could have a lot more matches in there. Reigns vs. Goldberg will be something WWE can put on the marquee for SummerSlam. Be interesting. Could you see that happen? Yeah, we could see Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley, but I think Goldberg Reigns is the match because you have the spear thing behind it, and that match was supposed to happen in WrestleMania last year. Didn't happen because Reigns backed out because of health issues, health concerns. So it's an interesting story here. Hopefully Goldberg does not come back and bury somebody and just absolutely take the title from somebody. It would be ridiculous if they continue to do that. He comes in, has marquee matches, fine, but not against guys that are in the championship picture and actually hold the title. We don't want to see Goldberg kind of bury another guy and win another title like that. So that's the news I got for you guys today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Remember to hit that chair in the corner before it hits you first. Drop a like on this video. It helps us out a lot without YouTube algorithm, so you guys see more of my videos and it'll get more reach out there. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If it doesn't work, do not do the job.